there's a couple things we need to make sure that you know before we start this one. One is if we say finders keepers, you say good. All right. And if we say ready or not, you say
because
good.
There are so many folk sayings told all around America, and so we said, can we quilt together a story with all of these or many of these and see if we can actually make it make sense? So you'll be the judge of it at the end.
Atop of spaghetti, all covered with cheese, there lived a young woman whose life was no breeze.
The people in her house made her do every chore. She had to dress in rags and sleep on the floor.
They made her work in the rain without an umbrella. You know her name, right?
She lived with a stepmama and stepsisters.
They were mean,
evil,
nasty,
and they always dissed her.
You're a dummy, duplicated, disconnected, brain-infected, purple-spotted, idiotic dum-dum.
Each sister wore a curl in the middle of her forehead.
One was blonde,
one was brunette, and
both were horrid.
You're no better than the ashes you sweep from the flue.
You look like a monkey and you smell like one too.
Cinderella would say, I'm a rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces back to you.
Cinderella was tough. She had attitude to stay alive with her, to survive with her brood. They were rude.
One day the king's footman came to call.
Come one, come all to the royal ball, 'cause young Prince Simon seeks love and marriage, a condo on the ocean and a 2-car garage.
The women checked their closets, trunks, and bags. What do we wear? Silk, satin, calico, rags?
But the 4 happy smiles soon turned to frowns, 'cause all they could find were 3 fancy gowns.
Stepmama said, one of us has to stay home. Got it?
So the 3 meanies cried,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
not it.
Cinderella was stuck. She had to dress them all and doll them up to go to the ball. Oh, help me find a way to go. She started to beg.
They said, last one, there's a rotten egg. So poor rotten eggarella started to cry, and then she got an idea, and she spoke to the sky.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might go to the ball tonight.
Then twinkle, twinkle went a star, and Cinderella said,
Still you lar, I spy with my little eye my fairy godmother in the sky.
Well, the fairy was there before she knew it. Want to boogie with the prince? Let's get down to it. She said, quack-a-dilly, oh so quack, quack, quack.
And changed a pumpkin to an orange Cadillac.
She said, Senorita, your mama smells like pizza.
And some mice became horses with bells on their feet. So with another wave of her magical wand, Cinderella's rags became a gown of golden chiffon.
She said, bubble gum in a dish. What kind of slippers do you wish?
Cinderella said, I want my slippers to be class, so I guess they got to be made of. She hugged the fairy, yo-yo magic's the bomb.
And the fairy said, at midnight it will be gone.
So Cinderella went riding in her caddy so fine, saying, engine number 9, get me to the ball on time. I gotta meet a prince, I'm gonna shake my booty some, but who, ready or not? She walked into the ballroom, sparkling like the sun.
Prince Simon was dazzled. She was second to none. He took 2 giant steps so he could say, Mother, may I have this dance?
She said, yes, you may.
Prince Simon and Cinderella danced like they were one.
The other women were all jealous. Something had to be done. Yo, her mother is so fat she can't fit through the door.
And she sells seashells at the seashore.
Their love wasn't shattered.
That was a no-brainer.
Then the prince cried,
Simon says, do the Macarena. Come on, you guys know this. Come on. Hey, Macarena. That's the way he... All right, that's that whole first part. Let's sing that all together. Ready? Here we go. Down in the jungle where nobody goes lives a great big elephant a-washing his clothes with a scrub here and a scrub there. That's the way he washes his clothes. Now, the chorus of this is where it maybe gets a little bit different than what you know. Maybe not, but we learned this over in England. So the chorus, the first part of the chorus goes like this. Tiddly-pum. See, because we have to sit up nice and straight, like you're very proper, like you're from England, you know. And very gently and quietly, you put one hand up like this, and you reach across and touch your elbow, and you sing tiddly-um. Everyone?
Tiddly-um.
Nice. Okay, then you reach across and switch, and you say pum.
Pum.
So it's like this. Tiddly-um, pum. Good.
But you know what?
We're American, see, so
and
we have...
it's got to burst out of you.
So, because you can only hold this for so long, right? Until you have to go, boogily, woogily, woogily. So that's what we're going to do now, okay? Let's all try that together. Boogily, woogily, woogily. Nice, okay. So the chorus basically goes like this. Tiddly, pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly, tiddly, pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly, tiddly, pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly. That's the way he washes his clothes. That's the whole thing. Let's do the whole thing all together. Here we go. Down in the jungle where nobody goes lives a great big elephant a-washing his clothes with a scrub scrub here and a scrub scrub there. That's the way he washes his clothes. Tiddly pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly, tiddly pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly, tiddly pum. Boogly, woogly, woogly. That's the way he washes his clothes. Now, who can call out another animal that you see in the jungle? Anybody? A lion. Okay, I heard a lion. So now we have a lion.
But let's make it a girl lion.
A girl lion. So we're going to have a girl lion washing her clothes. But we need a word to describe the lion. We had a great big elephant. Can somebody call out a word to describe the lion? Scary. A scary lion. So a scary lion washing her clothes with a...
Now the elephant went scrub scrub.
But what would a lion do? Think about a lion. What would a lion? How would a lion wash the clothes? What do you got? Scratch, scratch? Okay, so scratch here. Okay, that's good. Let's do it. Here we go. Down in the jungle where nobody's... Scary lion is scary lion washing her clothes with a scratch here and a scratch there. That's the way she washes her clothes.
So we like to take, sometimes it's fun to take a story that everybody knows and see what happens as slowly it feeds across. See what happens if we do a spoonerized version of a story that everybody knows. So we thought that tonight we would tell you a story. We'll start slowly to make sure that you're keeping up with it, and then all of a sudden your brains will decide that you don't need to keep up with it, and then we'll speed up, and that's when you really have fun. So it goes like this. Once upon a time, a Quing and Keen lived in a Can-See Castle.
And they had everything a Queen and Keen could ever want, except for a bittle laby.
Oh, how they longed for a bittle laby.
How they wished for a bittle laby.
And finally, after all those years of wishing and longing, they were blessed with a bittle laby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it was a wonderful event. They were so happy that they decided to throw a pig party. And they had a very long Lestgist. The Lestgist was so long that they forgot to invite the 13th fairy.
And that 13th fairy was very angry at having been overlooked for coming to the pig party. And so on the day of the celebration, she came anyway, uninvited, but she turned herself into a wasty nitch.
Mm-hmm. And the wasty nitch cast a sparable tell upon the bittle laby. The wasty nitch said that when the bittle laby grew up to be a wung yoman, on her 18th Earth Day, she would frick her pinger on a winning spiel and fall into a sleep dumber for 100 years.
Now you know what it's like for Americans to come here and hear Caymanian.
The three of them headed off down the road again. They walked and they walked and they walked along. They walked until they came upon
A tree, an old hollow tree with bees buzzing all around.
Oh, lovely honey for dinner. Let's build a fire under that old tree. We'll smoke out the bees. We'll kill all the bees, and then we'll reach in and we'll eat honey for dinner. So the two princes put a little pile of sticks there. They were just about to light those sticks.
When the younger brother tried to save them, and if you know this song by now, please join in. We'd love to hear your voices.
I won't let your harm and my brother cease.
Let them live in peace.
Oh, there goes our younger brother again, ruining our fun. Oh, very well, younger brother, we won't smoke out the bees. Much difference that'll make in your life. So the three of them headed off down the road. They walked and they walked and they walked along. They walked until they came upon a castle.
But not like any castle they'd ever seen before. This castle looked like it was cloaked in gray.
The gardens were filled with gray, empty dirt piles.
It seemed as if a great gray cloud hung over that castle like a puffy hat.
Gray statues of horses and men surrounded the castle. They were in the windows. They were in the doorways. There was no life anywhere. Well, the three of them walked up to the door of that castle. It was pushed closed, but it wasn't locked, so they pushed that door. open. And when that door was opened up, they saw that in that castle was a hallway. It just went on
And on.
and on and on, off into the distance. Well, the three of them didn't know what else to do, so they walked and they walked and they walked along. They walked until they came upon a doorway. They pushed the door open.
And there was a table, a great long dining room table.
With chairs lining the sides of it.
That table stretched from yesterday to tomorrow.
But there was not a scrap of food on it.
No.
It was a beautiful dining room, but it looked like it hadn't been used for hundreds of years. So they turned, they went back out into that hallway, and they walked and they walked and they walked along. They walked until they came upon another doorway. They pushed that door open.
And there was a beautiful bedroom.
4-poster bed in the middle of it.
There were blankets, cozy, lovely blankets that
Tapestries covering the walls.
looked just as warm and safe as a mama's hug.
But it looked like it hadn't been used for hundreds of years. So they walked and they walked and they walked along. They walked until they came upon door after door after door, room after room after room. Each room was as beautiful as the last, and each room looked like it hadn't been used for hundreds of years. Well, finally, they got to the very end of that hallway. There was one door left they hadn't opened. They reached down, they grabbed the handle on that door, but it was locked. There was a window on the door. They looked through the window,
And they saw inside that room
there was a little
gray
man sitting at a table. Well, the eldest prince knocked on the door 1, 2, 3 times. But nothing happened.
And so the other prince joined him. They knocked on the door.
1, 2, 3 times. But still nothing happened.
And so all 3 brothers and the audience all knocked on the door.
1, 2,
3 times.
and the little gray man stood up. And he walked over to the door. And he opened the door.
And then he beckoned them to follow.
Now, we understand that it is a Caymanian tradition to wear your clothes inside out to ward off the duppies. Is that right? All right, well, in southern United States, we have a different tradition, and so we're going to do it now. What we do is we take our shoes off, and you point one forward and one backward, and that is what wards off the duppies.
Keeps them from knowing where you're going. There we go. So we live in upstate New York, as you heard. In upstate New York, we do have a lot of duppy stories, a lot of ghost stories. We have other things that we're afraid of, too.
Yes.
This
And
is a story about one of those things.
Absolutely. And we're joined tonight by our son, Zach. He's going to be, yeah. And if anyone gets a good picture of him, I'd love to have it, because I can't take a picture tonight. Anyway, and so our son, Zach, will be fiddling for this story, and all the tunes that he plays are ones he composed. So, anyway, yeah. Now, as Barry said, we live in upstate New York, not far from the Catskill Mountains, a very mysterious mountain range where there are very mysterious stories lurking. And there's a story told about a fiddler who lived there about 200 years ago. And it was said that his music was legendary. Anytime he played a dance His fingers moved so fast up and down the neck of that fiddle, it was like water rolling over rocks in a stream. The dance music was so infectious and lively that everybody was up on their feet, twirling and whirling round the dance hall. Even the stodgiest, stoniest people like Ken Corsby, for instance. Really stodgy and stony, yeah. Well, anyway, he'll be up on his feet, rolling around the dance hall. Well, the dance hall floor was like the head of a drum. The feet were like mallets. The walls swayed. The foundations rumbled. It was as if the building itself was dancing along with the beautiful, wonderful dance music.
And when that fiddle player was hired to play for a funeral or a sad event, the airs that would come out of his fiddle were just so filled with melancholy and sadness that every single person there would be weeping and moaning and beating their chests, and the stoniest mountain man 25 miles away would have a tear in his eye, and it was said that even the dead body in the casket would have damp cheeks from the sound of the music.
And so you can imagine that this fiddler was in demand. Parties, weddings, birthings, funerals, storytelling festivals, anywhere they would want him to come play.
And of course, when he played, people would pay him for his work, and sometimes they would pay him with cash.
And sometimes they would pay with a barter.
Sometimes they would give him food, sometimes they would do work for him, and he was fine with that. He didn't need cash every time. As long as he had enough money and enough help to get by, he was content.
And so, one night, he was playing a dance in a village that wasn't too terribly far from his cabin in the woods. And the people, well, they had just loved it. It was a rousing dance. They were hot, they were sweaty, their feet were aching, so they were all very happy. The fiddler knew it was time for everyone to go. So he packed up his fiddle, and then he went over to the sponsor of the event to ask for his pay.
And the sponsor paid him, but it was, let me tell you, it was some fine pay that he got that night.
They gave him 2 freshly baked loaves of bread.
And he got a hot, juicy, freshly roasted chicken.
He packed those things in a pack. He slung the pack over one shoulder, the fiddle over the other. He said goodnight to everyone, and then he walked out into the night.
Now, he had a choice as to how he could go home. From the dance hall, he could either walk the roads back to his cabin,
or he could take a little deer trail that went through the woods out of town. It would cut off a big corner and get him to his cabin in about half the time.
Now, the food in his pack was nice and hot. It was fresh. He wanted to eat it soon.
And so
he took the deer trail.
Yeah. Yeah. And he walked along that trail. It was a very dark night. The trees were very close in upon him. They were company of a sort. And as he walked along, he started looking up. Well, the trees up in New York in a late autumn have all shed their leaves. And so it was easy for him to look through the branches of the trees and see the sky. And it was a very starry night that night. And it was also a very dark night. It was almost as if the sky had taken on an extra layer of darkness to protect itself from the coming cold, just like he had put on a sweater to protect himself from the winter's chill. The stars, well, they were shining a pale yellow. And it looked as if each star was twinkling and winking right at him. And so he looked at them, one after another, after another.
Bang! All of a sudden he fell. He tripped over something in the path. It hadn't been there before. He hadn't. So he looked back, and a log had fallen across the deer trail. A tree had fallen. He had never seen that before. It had never been there, so he didn't expect it. And those of you that have done this, you know that when you're not expecting to fall, you hit the ground hard. It knocks the wind out of you. It took him a minute to even catch his breath. And then he tried to get up, and when he tried to get up, oh God! That was when he felt the pain in his ankle because he'd broken it, and he knew he wasn't going to get home on that ankle tonight.
And this was problematic because it was late autumn, very, very chilly out. Too cold for him to be able to manage staying the whole night in the woods, dressed as he was. He had to get home. So, a little desperate, he felt around in the underbrush until he found, well, a long branch. Maybe this could be used as a crutch or a cane. So he pulled it out of the underbrush. He raised it straight, and he pressed himself down.
It was a sound he heard. It was about 20 feet off to his right in the woods there.
Oh, there were many sounds in the northeast woods. This didn't bother him at all. He got himself up to a standing position.
He heard it again. It was about 20 feet off to his left.
You know, white-tailed deer move that quickly. He stood there.
Heard it again about 20 feet behind him.
But were white-tailed deer that indecisive?
Heard it again about 20 feet in front of him.
And that's when he noticed something else. All of those stars in the sky had seemed to sunk down, 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 down through the murky blackness of night and were suspended in air all the way around him.
But that was ridiculous. I mean, that couldn't be. There had been whiskey at the dance, but he hadn't even touched it, so there was no way that... Well, he figured there would just fly fireflies or something out there.
But the moment he thought that, he rejected it, because there had been many frosts. There were no more fireflies.
And even if they were fireflies, the fireflies would be dancing around in the air. These lights that he saw, they were just dead steady out there. They weren't moving at all.
And they formed a pattern.
Yeah, there were two there.
And 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 two there.
They
were all the way around him.
him.
And that was when he realized what they were. They were eyes on a pack of wolves.
So we thought that this evening what we would do is, instead of telling you the story of the three bears, we would tell you the story of the three pears. There was Papa Pear.
There was Mama Pear.
She was the boss.
And there was there was wee baby bite-sized pear.
Now, Mama Pear was making breakfast for her family, and you know the story, so you know what she was making, right? Well, no, it was pearage.
And the pearage was very, very hot, piping
Very hot.
She served it into the bowls, and it was piping hot. And then she turned her back for one moment, and then Baby Pear, who was very hungry, wobbled over to the table, climbed up and wobbled over.
And she said, "Baby Pear, be careful, you're going to poach yourself again."
Now, Baby Pear was having accidents nearly every single day, and Mama and Papa Pear always had to call the paramedics.
So Mama Pear suggested that the family should just go out for a wobble in the orchard. So the three of them left. And no sooner had they left than along came someone else. And you know the story, so you know it was? It was Golden Delicious.
And she came up to the house, and she smelled the scent of that delicious pearage cooking, and she said, "Oh, this must be paradise."
Now, you know what? She wasn't a bad apple. She was just a little saucy.
And so even
Long time
though
ago, in a faraway place, two famous animals decided to race.
One was the tortoise.
He was the green one.
The other was the hare.
He was the mean one.
When Hare saw Tortoise walking from the east to the west, Hare would say,
"Are you still walking, or did you stop for a rest?"
Now Tortoise liked to make egg souffles from scratch. Hare would say,
"Will you be done before those eggies hatch?"
See, Tortoise liked to take things easy and slow, but Hare was always on the go, go, go.
Tortoise admired views, he smelled the flowers, he would read, he would paint, he would meditate for hours. Tortoise baked his bread, he made his own clothes.
But Hare had no time for activities like those. He liked life in the fast lane, on the jump, no doubt. He used a laundry service, went to the gym, and ate out.
And in between his meetings, Hare managed to find a minute to make fun of the green shell and the tortoise that was in it.
Hare's insults were sharp. He was always attacking.
"You're a slug, you're a sloth, you're the sultan of slack, and tortoise, you are slower than a snail stuck in time. You are the king of wasting time."
Now, Tortoise's shell was thick, but the Hare was on his case. He'd had about enough. Hare, it's time for a race.
So the day for the race between our heroes was set.
Hare said,
"That's a day Tortoise will regret."
On your mark, get ready, get set, and
go!
go!
Hare zipped away.
Tortoise went with the flow.
Hare looked around, he was ahead all right, so he sang a little song which is not so polite.
He sang, nya, 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 nya. Okay, so you know that. Everybody sing that with us. Nya, 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 nya.
Oh, how are you ever gonna get any
place, moving as you do at tortoise pace.
Yeah, moving as you do at tortoise pace. Hare looked around. Tortoise was so far back. Hare said,
I could do some work, I got plenty of slack.
Hare slowed to a jog,
If this race don't beat up,
pulled out his cell phone and made a conference call.
He was so caught up in talking that he went off the cement.
Then he had himself a little accident. He bumped into a tree. He felt a bit ill. Then he heard Tortoise catching up.
Man, this is no time to chill.
Hare held on to his lead.
yeah, I'm doing alright.
So he sang the little song that was not so polite. He sang,
Oh, I'll leave you in the dust without a trace. You go home in disgrace
at tortoise pace. You'll go home in disgrace at tortoise pace. Hare looked around. Tortoise was so far behind. Hare said,
Time for me to go online.
Hare pulled out a palm-sized computer apparatus. He surfed and he tweeted and he posted his status.
He was checking a chat room when he heard a little cough.
Tortoise passed him
Hare
by.
didn't even log off. He went hip hip hopping at a frightening speed, and in no time at all he was back in the lead.
Hare was moving so fast he nearly took flight. So he sang the little song that was not so polite. He sang,